this is Shanna today for Pixi Dust Designs. I'm here to make a card with you guys today, and we will be using a couple new and older products from Pixi Dust Designs. I will be using the new Tag E shaker die set, and we'll be making a shaker tag to go on top of a card that also features the Woodland Friends stamp set and coordinating pixie cuts. The little critters in this are great for both spring and fall cards. It has some like woodland trees and little stumps and little mushrooms and stuff that help you accessorize for either season. It'll be fun. Stay tuned. First, and for that I'm going to be using the base shaker die, the frame shaker die, and I'm only going to be using the bottom topper piece. It also has this really pretty ornate topper piece, but I will not be using that today. This is an additional little hole reinforcer. We will go ahead and using that. I have some pre-cut pieces of cardstock. I'm going to be using the plaid for the base, the blue for the frame, and out of the green, I'm going to be cutting the bottom topper. Additionally, to make a shaker, we will be using a piece of clear acetate to create our window and foam tape for our dimension. Okay, off screen, I went ahead and die cut my pieces. I also die cut my acetate. You will notice, I will bring it closer to the camera, that I actually fussy cut and trimmed off just a little bit following the stitched line, making sure not to come to the inside. What that does is allows me to glue it to this without risking it showing. It just gives it a cleaner look in case I'm just barely offset when I go to glue it. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and glue. This is just tissue paper that helps me keep from scratching or getting debris on here, but we're going to go ahead and take that off because I don't want to accidentally glue it to my project. And apply a thin amount of glue to the inside. I like to run my finger along the edge just to make sure it's getting glued down. You can also alternatively set something heavy on top. While that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and get my foam tape ready. So for foam tape, I'm going to double up. And then this isn't as wide as my tape, so I'm going to cut it in the middle. Okay, at this point, I can take off one of the release papers. It also helps to take off both because then it allows the tape to bend. And since this is not a straight On sharp turns, you're still going to want to trim. So you continue to work the thinner foam tape around the edges of the shaker tag. You do want to be careful you skip the hole that you'll need to tie your twine or ribbon through later. I just come up right to the edges and I kind of butt up the corners, as you can see. Okay, so that created our shaker frame. Flip it over, make sure I don't see any of my foam tape, which I don't. Now I can fill my shaker. I grabbed an assortment of sequins and flowers to fill my shaker that I felt matched like the spring vibes and my paper. So these are some like acetate flowers that have a little bit of dimension that I'm just being careful to pull the colors that only go through my paper. So like the brighter reds and pinks I avoided. Next, I will have some iridescent sequins. These are flat back sequins, so they shake really well, and I do like the shimmer that they add. And then I have some clay daisies. There's an assortment in this variety that are too big or too bright, so I'm picking out the smaller daisies that are just the white and yellow. Next, we're just assembling by adding that topper on. It's a lot easier to do this, I find, standing up and looking down at it, just so I can make sure it's lined up. Give it a shake and enjoy the shaker. Next, it was time to work on my card panel. I am ink blending the card panel with Distress Oxide and Salvage Patina and Twisted Citron. I like to ink blend on like a silicone mat. It helps grip my paper and it makes for easy cleanup of the inks without it getting all over my cutting mat. So I'm starting off with the Salvage Patina and then coming in with the Twisted Citron. I'm going to bring those up to a match in the middle. By going back and forth over them with the same colors. It helps blend them out. These are some pre-colored die cut images from Woodland Critters. I am just assembling them as I'm going to want them on my card. I liked the little scene just on the tag, and then it gives space for the sentiment across the bottom. From that same set, I'm pulling the Hello Dear Friend sentiment, and here we go. So as you can see, I have the Hello Dear Friend. I did actually stamp it onto white and then mounted it onto a scrap of that plaid. I thought it helped tie in the tag a lot better at the end. These are those same little clay daisies that I had put in the shaker. I decided I wanted there to be some flowers around the base of our critters in our little trunk. So I'm just adding some dots, and then I'm going to use my pickup stick to add those to my tag. The pickup stick really helps me because I can just pick it up and drop it right on those dots of glue and it sticks just fine. After adding the daisies, all that was left to do was add it all together. I did add some rickrack to the top of my tag just to finish off, and then just mounted it all onto that card base. I hope you enjoyed my video. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.